All right, welcome back. This is a video about kids and money and setting your kids up for financial success in the future, making them millionaires even before they're 18. This is a real gift you can give to your kids. It's a gift I'm giving to my son. I'm obviously going to have to teach him about money skills and the value of money and appreciating everything around him so he doesn't like blow all his money when he grows up. But check this out. You can do this with your own kid if you set up a UTMA account. A UTMA account stands for Uniform Transfers to Minor account. And essentially you can set this up in your brokerage. Like I've got one set up at Fidelity for my son, and I can contribute. It changes over the years, but it's like up to, I think it's this year you can contribute up to $16,000 into that account for investments for, your kid. So here's the situation. I'm going to take you through how I'm going to make my son a multimillionaire before he's 18, mega millionaire before he's 18. I might decide to slow it down and just kind of give him the joy of growing his own money instead of just handing him a pile of cash. Because after I take you through how this is going to work, you're going to be amazed. It's going to take $100,000 portfolio to $500 million, basically close to it. And that's being conservative. In how I do these investments. So check this out. You can do this with your own son or daughter. Like I said, if you set them up in a UTMA account and you follow this advice, follow my strategy or roughly something like this, it can set your kid up for enormous success. Now, a really important thing, like I said at the beginning, is teaching your kids about the value of money, because most people in this world have to work every day. I know I did, right? And it's like I don't have to work every day now. I'm kind of partly retired, but I know the value of hard work. I had my first job, I started when I was like 14, I think. I was working out at an apple orchard, making farm minimum wage and getting paid $2.80 an hour, I think, if I remember correctly. And I was digging trenches in the dirt and picking apples and stuff like that. $2.80. And, look at where I am now. So I want him to understand the value of hard work, to be appreciative of everything that he has, and to know how to manage money, because that's going to be a huge part of his future. So this is for my son. My son is currently 6 years old, and by the time he's 18, he's going to be a mega millionaire. So check this out. So right now, by the end of this year, in his UTMA account, he's going to have about $100,000. And I've got that locked and loaded in cryptocurrency in BCHG, LTCN, and GXLM, the trust that I've talked about from Grayscale in many of my videos. And none of this is financial advice as per usual. Like, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a dude in my Jeep telling him my story. But so anyway, there's $100,000 in his account locked and loaded in crypto. So in the bull run, he'll be 7 years old when the bull run comes. And I expect, probably conservatively, that 100,000 can pull a 30x at least. If that happens, it would turn his portfolio to have a value of $3 million. He'd be 7 years old and have $3 million in his portfolio. Check that out. Then, with what I know about yield max funds, I can diversify that $3 million into different cash flowing ETFs that produce an average of 50% yield for me. So every year for the next 3 years, be producing $1.5 million in cash. That $3 million in assets would be. So after a period of 3 years, $4.5 million would be generated, plus the $3 million principal brings a total of to $7.5 million. He'd be 10 years old at that point. 10 years old, he's at $7.5 million. Then at the age of 11, what I would do is I would take 3 million of the 7 million and I would put it into cryptocurrency. And I think that would at least be able to pull a 10x. So $33 million turns into 30 million. He still has 4.5 left over. So his total would be $34.5 million. This is being conservative. I could dump the whole thing into crypto, but so anyway, by the age of 11, he's going to have about $34 million in his UTMA account. I'm not contributing anymore, probably after this year, because he's already a multimillionaire. By the age of 11, $34 million. Then for the next 3 years, from the age of 12 to 14, that $34 million will produce on average about $17 million a year in distributions. Over the course of 3 years, $54 million have been produced. Plus the $34 million in principal brings him to have a total of $88 million. $88 million by the time he's 14. At that point, what I will do, his $88 million, I'll leave 80 of it in, diversified assets, and just probably put $8 million to ride in the following bull run, which will probably be when he's 15. If that does a 10x, it would turn that $8 million into $80 million. Plus, he still has an $80 million worth of diversified stuff in his portfolio and cash flowing assets. So his now total portfolio value would be $160 million. This is by the time he's age 15. Then over the next 3 years, 16 to 18 years of age for him, that $160 million would be producing $80,000 a year in assets times 3 years. That's $240,000 that gets created, plus the 160 that was producing the cash, brings his total portfolio value up to $400 million. $400 million by the time he's 18. I would hope that one of his big jobs in the future will be to manage money. And little man, if you're watching this video at some point in the future, just have to know, man, I wanted this for you. I wanted to give you freedom for the rest of your life. And you better appreciate the money that you've been handed, because a lot of people don't have this opportunity in their life. I know I never did. So, yeah, so you can set your kid up really good. I mean, my son, it's like his portfolio will be locked and loaded with $100,000 in cryptocurrency by the time the bull run comes. Even if you got in and you put in less than that, like 10 grand, you started with 1/10 of the principal, you still end up with $40 million at the after 10, 11 years. And if your kid is really young, like 1 or 2, and you start now, man, they're going to be a mega millionaire, like potentially. So you can set them up. It doesn't take a whole lot. Just apply the principles that I've talked about in my Money Machines videos to your kids account, like their UTMA account. I don't know if you can do this in a 529 plan. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know. But the UTMA accounts you can, and Fidelity allows you to set up UTMA accounts. So if you don't have one, and you're interested, definitely check out Fidelity. They've got UTMA accounts you can set up for your son or daughter. Like I said, like you can contribute up to, I think this year it's like $16,000 a year in principal that you contribute. Now, the one thing is, like, the gains that happen inside of the portfolio, like, say, for example, like when I'm cashing out cryptocurrency, those have to be paid. You have to pay taxes on those, but they're paid at the rate of your son or daughter's income. But still, like, we're talking these numbers, this highest tax bracket. So you might need to take some out of the accounts to pay taxes, right? In this example, I wasn't taking anything out because I don't know that I will. I'll probably just pay the taxes out of my own bank account and take care, leave the rest for my son, just to let it grow, and give my son, like, financial freedom for the rest of his freaking life. And he better not turn out to be spoiled. I'm going to do my best to make sure he's not, because, man, that kind of money doesn't come by. Most people don't have that kind of stuff. But this just goes to show you, I've talked about this, like the principles of money. If you just have the knowledge of what to do, and you are willing to let time pass, let time do its thing, then you can have enormous gains. Like, I've done videos on how you can become a millionaire and multimillionaire. And if you haven't seen those videos, go to my channel, click on playlists, and find the Money Machines playlist. In that playlist, you'll find the videos where I talk about how to do it using Grayscale cryptocurrency trusts and YieldMax ETFs. You can use different investment vehicles for doing this, but the principles still apply if you find assets that can rocket and that can cash flow. Okay, so same principles, just enormous things. This is just, it's crazy. It's crazy what you can do. And for me, it's like, I just want to say a few notes about, like, about like teaching your kids like the value of money. I'm really fortunate. It's such a blessing to be a parent. And I know the struggle I went through. Like I grew up, I didn't, my family didn't have that much. I remember wearing secondhand clothes to school and getting made fun of when I was a little kid, and never feeling like we always had enough, but we didn't have as much as most other people. And something like this, like handing my son a $400 million portfolio, is just like I don't even know if I should do this, honestly. Part of me doesn't want to do it because I don't want to ruin him, for life. And part of me doesn't want to do it because I want to give him the joy of investing and doing all that stuff on his own. Because I feel like I'm like taking it away from him in a way, like when I do this on his behalf. So it's kind of I'm still going to do it. I don't know if I'll stop, at some point investing and just sit in a cash position in his account just to let him kind of take over and have fun with it. Because even being handed a $10 million portfolio when you're 18 is mind blowing, but not to mention a $400 portfolio. That would be pretty crazy. But you've got to, like, if you got kids, you have to teach them about the value of money. One of the things that my dad did when I was growing up is every kid likes to earn money, right? And my dad wanted me to read and to become knowledgeable on history and a bunch of different stuff. And so he'd always pay me. I think it was like it was either 25 cents or 50 cents a book that I read. I had to give him a report on the book, but he always paid me. And I always liked that. And I'm starting to do that with my son now. Like when we read books, he's starting to learn to read. I'll give him 50 cents or a quarter per book. And obviously as he gets older, I'll pay him more to read books and give me essentially kind of a book report on them, because I want him to learn. I want him to see the value of that, and at the same time learn the value of money and all that kind of stuff. It's a huge thing, a very important thing for all of us parents to do for our sons and daughters. It's really, you think about it, chances are your parents did not teach you that much about money. They didn't teach you that much because they didn't know that much. They weren't taught that much. School system doesn't teach our kids that much about money. And that's just the way it is. So you have to teach your kids about money if you want them to be financially savvy and ahead of the curve, right? You have to take care of them and do something amazing for them. But like this example, like if you set up a UTMA account for your kids, and it's completely worth it to get in, folks, set up a UTMA account for your kids. Like you can rocket them to enormous heights. Like I can't even fathom what that's going to be. It's crazy. That's crazy. Like if I actually go through and I do it, if I did this and I was this in some cases very conservative, like, I mean, I could, if I wanted to, I could make him a multi-billionaire probably, but the limitations would apply. Like, I don't think I'd be able to do it from a practical standpoint because I couldn't sell all the crypto out of one brokerage account. So I don't know that I'd be able to do it, but wow, 400 million, not bad. I mean, everyday people would love to have $400 million. I certainly would. I know I'll have it someday, but that's a lot of moolah. You got to make sure your kids aren't spoiled, man. You got to make sure they understand the value of money and have an appreciation for everything in life, or they're just going to waste that money. They're just going to waste it on stupid shit. Because, kids are kind of stupid. Like we're all stupid, like when we were young, right? It isn't until life beats you down a little bit and that's when you get a little bit wiser, right? So anyway, crazy. I wanted to share that. Like that's my plan for my son's account. Going from $100,000 portfolio to 400 million inside of 10, 11 years, it's definitely doable, definitely easy. I could, if there weren't a limit on like how much cryptocurrency I could sell, man, I could make him a billionaire by the time he's 18. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Oh, I can't even imagine that. I can't even like imagine what it would be like to be 18 and be handed a $400 million portfolio. I don't even know if this is a good idea. I mean, it's a smart thing to do in terms of like setting your kid financially free for the rest of their life. But I don't know, man. I guess I'll have to think about this. I might throttle this back, actually. And if he ends up being a total butthead, I might just invest it all in some stock that crashes to zero and just take all those gains away. I think I could do that. Like, he doesn't actually get this account until he's 21. So from the age of 18 to 21, it'd probably just sit in either a cash position or just in stocks, not that don't have any yield, from 18 to 21 before he gets this thing. But man, someday somebody's gonna be looking back at videos, probably of me on YouTube, maybe even this one, and going, "Holy shit!" It's like, this is what my dad did. This is what my dad thought. Yeah, son, this is what your dad thought. I'm not sure if this is a good idea for me to do this for you or not, but I'll give it my best shot. And you can join me in the Future Billionaires Club of America, I guess. All right, everyone. Reminder: if you don't have a UTMA account for your son or daughter, you can set one up through Fidelity, and they're a pretty good company. And like I said, I think the contribution limit, I think, for this year is 2016. And if you were able to contribute that much this year and then another $16,000 next year, you'd have $32,000 on the line for the crypto bull run to do amazing things, I think, for them. Just give it some thought. Anyway, I'll see you guys later in the next video. All right, take care.